Hello everybody, my name is Skybound.
Starflex.
And we've just got finished watching episode 10 of Steins Gate, and
It was less of a... I was expecting it to be a bigger shock, because, don't get me wrong, it was a good episode, but people have been hyping it up to the point where it starts getting good.
well, I mean, it's definitely getting pretty interesting.
Oh, it's getting interesting, because he sent an email back because a certain person did not turn up. So the question is, right, I'll forget the name of the... Oh, what was the name of the... who, like, was trying to search for a father?
Let's just call her part-time warrior.
Part-time warrior.
Yeah.
Basically, she was looking for a father.
But
who turns out to be the person who was contacting him all the while, wasn't it?
So a few different things happened here, first of all. So first of all, Daru and part-time warrior, they were both going to be going to the same
time travel
meetup. Daru never went because Okabe sent an email basically going, hey, you want to try some of Ferris's home cooking, you better stay here and not go to that time travel meeting. And part-time warrior went there, she didn't see her father there, and so she left with the time machine originally, before Okabe went...
Wait, what do you mean with the time machine?
Well, actually, was it a time...
No, she didn't, it wasn't a time machine.
Was it a satellite? No, it was a satellite, wasn't it?
There was a satellite that was there and at the beginning of the episode, and it then wasn't there near the end. So you could say that she may be that time... She could be a time traveller. And she could have disappeared at the end when she couldn't find her father at that time travel meetup. Because if you're going to be a time traveller, you would go to a time traveller meetup if someone was holding one. Yeah. So basically she probably that probably explained why that disappeared. Because she's probably travelled back in time, and then when she couldn't find her father there, she travelled back to wherever the hell she was, because that flipping time machine, because I'm assuming it's a time machine, it looks like a UFO, but that disappeared when she couldn't find him there. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm willing to bet that in this episode, in the next episode, we'll actually see that time machine actually still there. Well, or we'll find some evidence to her basically... The point I'm making is she probably stayed because he managed to get that...
Yeah, so after he sent that text to the past, he ended up tailing... Part-time warrior to that time travel meetup, and in the end they ended up going back to the lab. Yeah. The experiment never got done though because she didn't have the email address of her father. So she never met her father at the time travel meetup, and they never did the experiment, and she never left after he sent that other D-mail. But when he didn't send the D-mail, so before that, she went to the time travel meetup, she didn't meet her father, and she just disappeared completely, along with what was thought to be a satellite, but is probably some kind of time traveling device.
I'm willing to believe that is a time travel device and she's a time traveller.
Because why else would it disappear?
Why would they show that?
Yeah.
Unless this is a complete red herring, but if it's going along with that, then that's the reason why she ended up, disappearing, and that also disappearing. So I reckon that she stayed there, and I'm willing to bet that the reason why this is getting closer and closer to zero is I'm actually more in agreement with what you were originally thinking, that this is actually going to get to a point where when it gets to zero, that's when CERN basically takes over. He's basically pushing it further and further away from what it needs to be, because he's not only changed the city from being essentially a taco, basically a wee... a wee paradise, meaning there's going to be less geeks in the city to start off with. And then basically at this point he's also making sure that one of the time travellers does not actually leave and go back to the future, basically. Yeah. And basically, so basically she couldn't come back and stop them or something like that. And my point is, it seems like they're getting closer and closer to a point when CERN really does take over. So,
yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like in his efforts to kind of stop CERN from taking over, he's actually driving them closer and closer to that a kind of oppressive regime, which at the same time makes you think, so is the future going to be because of Okabe rather than like is it like that whole kind of That's So Raven thing where
Wait, what? That's So Raven what?
Yeah, there's like, oh man, this is a roller coaster ride. There was an old Nickelodeon show called That's So Raven. That's completely unrelated to any kind of anime, but it's about this girl who can basically see into the future, and it's basically by trying to avoid the things that she sees in the future that she ends up causing the things that end up.
So in other words, she should do the opposite and actually try and cause them to happen, and it probably won't actually happen.
Kind of. I think the thing about time in general is it's kind of. I think it's kind of like the lottery ticket thing that they did very early on in the show, where that lottery ticket would have, it's kind of too big a jump. You can't say they won the lottery. So even when they went back and went, okay, place these bets, place these numbers, that would be too much of a jump. But if you make a very small change and let that butterfly effect scale out, it can have massive changes.
I can't believe I'm going to make a reference to Doctor Who, but basically the third Doctor Who episode of the most current series basically covered it in a similar way. It was somebody went back in time and tried to make a small change.
Yeah, and it just went out of control essentially.
Well, no, they didn't end up making it because the Doctor stopped them from making such a change. It was the bad guy who was trying to make the small change.
Right.
Yeah, I'll explain later, but basically,
But yeah, it's definitely getting curious though. So I wonder if Daru is actually the father of her, because it seems likely, because it seems.
Oh, what you mean the hacker?
Yeah, because he was going to go to that time travel meeting, and she said that she was going at the end of the episode. She was going to that same time travel meeting.
Oh.
And she also said earlier in the episode that was going to be pretty much her only opportunity to meet her father.
Oh.
He never went there, and she never met her father.
Wait, so he was. Oh, so wait, hang on a minute. He never went there. What was the reason for him not going?
Because Okabe texted him and basically said, going to the meetup or Ferris's home cooking, your choice. And he ended up going back to end up having that party at Okabe's lab. But he never went to the time travel meeting as a result. It just seems really coincidental that those.
So basically, originally, the first time he went to the first time before he sent the email back.
Yeah.
He basically went to the time travel meetup, and no, hang on, that doesn't make sense. He didn't go to the time travel meetup the first time because of her home cooking.
Yeah.
But then the second time round, when he actually went and followed her rather than tell him about the home cooking, he stayed at time travel meetup and actually found her and he went back with her.
I don't think she actually found her dad in that way, because she said she didn't know his email. So presumably Daru was still back at the lab, but Okabe tailed her to the time travel meetup, but she never met with Daru because Daru wasn't there.
He went back to the time travel,
and then they ended up going back.
So where was Daru then when he wasn't at
the Future Gadget Laboratory? I presume.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Does that mean that she actually did meet him there then?
She met him at the lab, but I don't think she knew it was her father at that point.
But she thought she could meet him at the time travel meetup and he didn't go there.
This could, again, just be a massive red herring, but it seems too much of a coincidence. It seems too much of a coincidence. And I guess we will find out what happens. I mean, for the time being, though, anything else you can think of?
No, there's nothing else I can really say. I think I've said everything I can.
Okay,
Other than that jelly picture that was a bit weird.
Yeah, that was also a weird thing, actually. Because there was a text that preempted that as well that said, "We're watching you."
Oh, that'd be CERN.
That
would be CERN.
It could be.
And
but
that's
what's the significance of the red jelly? Because the people turned into a green jelly. Is it Like,
Well, as far as you know, they turn into a green jelly in the version in the timelines that he saw that data. But in this timeline, it may be a completely different colour that they turn into.
Yeah.
And they don't know because they haven't basically broken the encryption because they haven't got that IBM machine.
Yeah.
Because that data could have changed. In these different timelines, they could be different. And if we do manage to break into that data in another timeline, we may actually see that it's a completely different colour that these jellymen end up coming into. Yeah, it's converted to pep, but it actually shows the concept, I think, that I'm talking about.
Well, that was episode 10 of Steins Gate. Hope you enjoy our reacting that's down in the description below. Apart from that, yeah, very, very interesting. Things are ramping up. But I guess, really, you'll have to find out what happens in episodes 11 and beyond, basically.
Yeah.
So, hope you enjoyed our reaction. As usual, I'm Skybound.
Alright, thanks.
And we'll see you next time for the next episode of Steins Gate. Goodbye.
Bye.